Hey, Monica, did you know it's now even easier to listen to Round the Hay Bale podcast?
What? Really? How easy?
That's right. All you have to do is say, Alexa, play Round the Hay Bale podcast.
Playing Round the Hay Bale podcast on Apple Music.
Ooh, we're really fancy now.
Tune in to Round the Hay Bale every Monday at 9 a.m. Central Time.
Grab a cup of joe and let's gather round that hay bale. With your hosts, Ann from Andale Homestead, Cayce from Ormsby Farms, Monica from Bland's Promised Land Ranch, and Sandi from Suburban Home Center, Wyoming, Arizona. Here they are. Hey, y'all, hey.
Hey, y'all. Hey, it's Ann with Andale Homestead.
Hello, everyone. It's Cayce over at Ormsby Farms.
And I'm Monica at Bland's Promised Land Ranch.
And this is Sandi from Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona. We have a great topic today. I'm so excited. 5 ways to beat inflation. Seriously, our world is going crazy, and let's beat inflation. Now, sometimes we think that I don't have anything that I can beat inflation, but every time you go to your garden and you pick up that pepper or that tomato, you're growing green beans, you are beating inflation. You just saved that you didn't have to buy at the grocery store. When you raise animals, when you go get your eggs from your chickens, if you learn a skill and you can make soap from goat's milk, you've beat inflation. So sometimes we don't really realize all those things we're doing every single day to beat inflation. Now, Cayce has some really good ideas on beating inflation.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting that you opened the episode that way because it's so true. Like homesteaders, we are one of the bomb group of folks that know how to beat inflation. And let me tell you, folks will say inflation's not real. It's real, y'all. I saw a crazy post on Facebook the other day where a woman posted her, it was Walmart Plus order. And we'll get to the apps later on in the episode. Her order, same exact thing, same exact name brand of the product. She paid $75 in 2019. And now she paid $165, I think is what it was. So in a couple years, it nearly tripled the pricing. So it's true. Going to your garden, raising your meat. And my big thing, my one tip, so tip 1, and we'll have all of it downloaded that you can download our little tips in our bio show notes, is I meal prep. Y'all know I love to can. Anybody that follows me knows that I love meal prepping and canning. Now, my family is much smaller than, say, Monica's family, but it works, across the board. I try to keep the meat, which is going to be your most expensive part of your meal, to about $1.15, $1.50. And how do I do that? I bulk buy. I'll say it. I'm a bulk buyer. Hi, my name is Cayce. I shop at Costco. I'm just saying. But when you buy the big bulk ones, now this, of course, is included if you raise your own chicken meat and that kind of stuff. You're portioning it out. So when you get a large chicken breast, if you get a pack of the 10 chicken breasts that they have at Costco, first of all, those are mammoth-sized chicken breasts. So I'll know how big that was truly big bird that went into this chicken. But I cut it in half. So now in the 10, I have 20 chicken breasts. Because we were chatting before the episode, we as Americans overeat. And we overeat on our portions. And portion sizing and meal prepping can save you the money. So instead of having 10 ounces of that chicken breast, which you really don't need, cut it in half, you have the 5, which is right there at the 4 ounces of meat that you should have. Growing your own vegetables, that leaves you at pretty much $0 for the most part. Y'all, I know seeds and soil and watering should work into it, but for the most part, it's $0 for your veggie for that meal prep. And then try to keep it to like 20 cents for your starch if you do a starch. Rice, potatoes, if you grow potatoes, that's a big old fat 0 right there. But meal prepping in the long run, that can save you hundreds and hundreds of dollars where you're not spending an exorbitant amount of money going out to dinner. I mean, Monica, before I pass it over to you, I could only imagine a family of, well, y'all are growing because of grandbabies and new wives, but like y'all are what, 12 now strong?
So, I mean, yeah, but when we go out, I'm not paying for my adult children all the time. But like when we go like Sunday after church, we'll go to like Culver's, right? So we'll just go to a nice little sit down restaurant. And I am easily, if everyone gets their drinks and everyone gets their little meals and everything, I'm paying for 7 children and myself and Eric. That's 9 that I'm paying for. And I am paying right about $105. I can pretty much pin that down because it's the same thing. $105 for a family for one meal.
We're talking about lunch too.
And that's just a lunch meal.
We're just talking about lunch.
Right after church, you're going to go and sit down and you just want to go sit. And most families can, maybe drop in 30 or $40. And that's a lot. We're dropping like 105.
Yeah.
And being able to meal prep, if you're working out the $1.15, $1.50 per person, you're looking at now the Blands grow their own meat, but you're looking at now a $10 lunch that you're prepping. Or even if they want to be bougie and have like double meat, you're looking at $15 lunch. So that is my big tip, is meal prepping. And I use reusable meal prep box, little I guess Tupperware. I don't want to say Tupperware because it really isn't the name brand Tupperware, but that's the only money that I have into it. Sandi, do you meal prep on yours?
Well, we do some meal prepping, but there's just the 2 of us. But what I've learned is that when I cook, I always have leftovers. Now, we may not want to have the same thing for 4 nights. So I have to, when I'm prepping for that dinner, what can I do with this food differently? So we're still having maybe the same meat, but it's not the same thing for 4 days in a row. Not awesome. That we haven't, but sometimes we do. But that saves you money. If you
Absolutely.
make a roast and you can have the roast, then maybe you have French dip sandwiches for a different meal. You put some of it in a soup or a stew or in a casserole. That really can save you a lot of money.
Absolutely. And one thing that I love to do when I make bigger meals, like if you're doing a roast or soups in the winter, is can the leftovers, and then you have it shelf stable for later. And one thing that I learned from Monica, because Monica is the leftover queen, honey, she is the leftover queen. You can up leftover taco meat, and then a month later, you're not having to spend more money on getting a pound of hamburger meat. You've already have it canned.
Right.
So that's one of the big things that I like to do for my tip is I meal prep. Meal prepping, love it. That's my tip. So I'm going to pass the tip next on to Sandi, because I know Sandi has a great tip for her tip.
Well, I like to, and Monica will probably add into this too, because I like to wait on a purchase. Maybe I need that, but maybe I don't really need that. Can I wait? Can I find it at cheaper price? Can I borrow it? Or sometimes we just rent something. There's a lot of places anymore that will even rent small power tools that you can use so that you don't have to purchase, $85 or $90 power tool that you're going to only use a few times. So anything you can do, if I can learn a skill that I can fix that instead, or Joe can fix that. I mean, we use every resource possible. I can't even tell you how many times Joe has had to fix something so we didn't have to pay somebody to come in, and he's watched YouTube videos. He's went to the library. He's asked people, so he gets enough knowledge to beat that inflation so that our budget stays within the walls and the confines that we have, because it is easy to slip out of that and put it on a credit card, or do something where you're not beating inflation when you put it on a credit card, because you're paying for that over and over again sometimes. Now, Monica, tell us about your tip.
All right. So I guess my tip would be to reuse and just use your resources, right? So, I mean, we've been hand-me-downs from the time we got married. Eric and I were married very young. And so ever since we've been a couple, we've always had hand-me-downs. We would wait for purchases. We would wait and see. We were helping my son furnish his new apartment. And, there were lots of things that he can buy and he wants to get and he needs. But the thing is he's about to be married in October, which means presents are coming, which means gift cards are coming, which means cash is coming. People love to give gifts. And even though he might need hand towels and silverware and those things now, I'm like, buddy, eat off the paper plates and plastic forks for a few months. Trust me, this is going to, your things will happen. And it's funny because just as I said that too, they got a gift in the mail and it happened to be a whole set of like towels and stuff that they needed that was from the registry. And so little things like that, just waiting and then reusing what you've got. We've got my grandbaby is coming in September, and I told Eric, I said, okay, so I need to see what I've got baby stuff, because we're just going to keep some baby stuff here. So when they come, it's here. And I still have the same baby bouncer that my son, who is 24 years old, used for his very first birthday. So I may be somewhat of a keeper and it drives Eric nuts, but this is coming in handy because I literally have a baby bouncer that's already here. And my daughter-in-law, as soon as we found out she was, going to need some big items, I was like, hey, are you guys cool with hand-me-downs? And they were like, absolutely. So I put some feelers out and I was like, hey, friends of mine, family. So my daughter-in-law has two brand new, well, not brand new. They've been used by two different children, but they're only about a year or so old, and they're car seats. Now, when you're using car seats and things like that, please make sure you check expiration dates. But my daughter-in-law and my son are able to save money and beat inflation that way by reusing something that another little baby has grown out of. They grow out of those infant seats very quickly. And there is no shame in a free seat. Okay. Because that baby seat, you can only use that first year, and you're going to save yourself quite a bit of money. That's a couple $100 right there, using a baby seat like that. And if it's not expired yet or hasn't been into an accident, use it. So if you have a friend that's got baby things, use it. They've got, all kinds of different things that we're using that's just reusing, being able to reuse. I also am an app queen. I love those apps where you can save money. And, Casey's out there meal prepping. And one of the things that we do is I try to make a meal plan. I don't necessarily meal prep, but I'll make a meal plan. So I know that I'm going on vacation in a few weeks or whatever it is, and I will meal plan while I'm gone. So I called my mom and I said, hey, we're coming to visit. This is what I'm thinking for meals the week we're there. Like literally while I'm on vacation, I'm meal planning, because I know that there's a Walmart there and I can go and get on my little app and I can look at my app and put all the things in there. So we're going to have spaghetti one night and tacos another night, and we're going to have leftovers a third night. And then we're going to do this another night. And by meal planning and then filtering it into my little app, I'm able to see where it sits in my budget, like Sandi said. I'm also able to save money by adding it in those little coupon apps, the ones where you scan your receipts, you get money back. Cayce and I were just talking about that. There's definitely apps out there where you can scan, make sure it's legit, by the way, but there are apps that you can scan your receipts into and you can make money back. Like right now, I've got enough points in my one account that I can get a $50 Amazon gift card. I mean, who doesn't want a $50 Amazon gift card? That's just because I'm scanning receipts. It takes 2 seconds of your time. And yes, beating inflation, it takes time, because saving money takes a little more time than just spending money.
Right.
And so I think that that's where a lot of times people don't want to put that work in. It's easier just to say, yes, take this money and let's go with it and just do it because it's easier, cheaper, faster. Let's just get it done. But taking time will save you money. Cayce?
I was going to say, because you mentioned the Fetch app that we were talking about before and how simply easy it was. And I think we blew Anne and Sandy's mind when we were talking off of the podcast. If you have not heard of Fetch, both me and Monica will leave our links in the show notes. Just go and click and sign up. It is so easy. You literally grab your receipt, you open up the app, you take a picture, you earn points. That is literally the gist of it. And what way, besides using coupons, because listen, I'm a coupon kind of guy, this is another way that's somewhat coupon. So you're saving money on your meal prep, meal planning, whatever you want to call it. It's great. It's a wonderful app. All of it's down below. Click on that link if you wanted to join Fetch. Click on, we'll probably want to join Monica or want to join Cayce. We may even, because we're trying to get Anne and Sandy on there, we may even have an Anne and Sandy link down below also. But Anne, what is your tip for beating inflation?
Well, my tip for beating inflation, when I had spoken with some of my friends and things, they're going, I can't afford to garden. It's too expensive to purchase all that dirt, to get all those pots, to try to get the equipment to make rows or whatever, or buy the seeds or things like that. But what Worth and I have done is we went to our local cotton gin, and they have the soil that is left over from the cotton seed, and that's very good fertilizer for your garden as well, but it's free. So we would get a full pickup load of dirt soil to be able to come in and set up our garden with. It's amazing and wonderful. Also, as far as seeds go, you can save seeds from your grocery store. The vegetables and things, if you have a tomato or a cucumber or a squash or any of those things that you a potato, all those kinds of things, we can still grow our food from food that you purchase at the grocery store. So that's something that we can certainly save with. And so what I have found is one of our first gardens really looked pitiful because we didn't have any containers whatsoever. And all of our friends were feeling sorry for us, and they gave us all their clothes baskets and old buckets. And I had a big aluminum soup pan that had holes in the bottom of it. I mean, you use whatever you have. But the thing that really we have developed into over the years is utilizing something all the way through. Say we grow a cucumber and you save the seeds so that you can grow more, but that cucumber can not only be a vegetable on the side, you can make relish out of it. You can make pickles out of it. You can save the skins to feed to your chickens. Even if you have leftover scraps, we make what is called super juice. You put your kitchen scraps in a bucket with water and feed it back to your plants. It's the best fertilizer that you could ever get. It is very stinky. Monica's waving her nose. It smells disgusting. And luckily, Worth does a lot of that, thank goodness, because he looks after me. But there's all kinds of ways. So you get your soil, you can get your seeds, you can get your containers, anything that you can place a pot, you could grow a plant, right? And that was just on our last podcast. And your fertilizer can come directly from your garden. So I thought that was pretty cool. And Sandy?
Well, I just wanted to mention, you're talking about seeds. A lot of extension offices or regular libraries have seed libraries now. And so you're not actually even paying for the seeds that can help you beat inflation by waiting a little bit longer, maybe getting some of your seedlings on sale. Right. One of the things we haven't talked about is bartering. And that is a great way to beat inflation. You have a skill, somebody else has a skill, you would like them to do something for you, or maybe they like some of your vegetables. I can't even tell you how many times I have bartered vegetables and honey for, like one time, for probably 3 years, we got elk meat. We bartered. He didn't have a vegetable garden and he liked my honey. And so we bartered it. What about mending things? That is an art that has a lot of times been forgotten. And sometimes something breaks down. It's not fixable anymore. But can you take those parts apart and use different parts? Nuts, bolts, springs, different things that you can use. And so I think there's just a million ways to beat inflation if we really put our mind to it.
That's exactly right. There really is.
And
And
when you have a big family like Monica, like we had 7 kids. And so there was always things that you hate to tell your kids, sorry, I can't afford that. But that is a fact of life. And it's something that they need to learn. But can you go on Marketplace? I mean, I love Marketplace. I know you guys love Marketplace. And find a used bicycle for $5 versus paying $100 and some for a bicycle. There are things that you can do. And every single day, I think I look out, okay, these are my plans for today. This is how much I think things are going to cost me, but how can I fix that so it doesn't cost me that much?
that's awesome.
Well, there's some big purchases that you can't avoid using money with, right? I mean, I recently had to get new tires and I've got so many other things that I've got to do. But we have also big purchases where we have a community, we know people. And so a few years ago, we knew we needed hay, and we knew a friend of ours who had hay wanted and was interested in a cow. So we had a cow with a baby on her side, and we had a value that we were going to sell her for. And so I called my friend. I was like, look, you got hay. I got a cow. I know you want her. How about we barter? And she's like, sounds like a plan. So we were able to barter round bales, giant round bales of hay. I knew what she was selling them for. She knew what I was selling my girl for. And we just swapped them over price for price.
Wow.
And it was fantastic because that was a year that we didn't have to put out so much cash for hay. And that is a pretty penny when it comes to hay season. It is a lot on a farmer. And so if you can find people to barter with and do, and yes, there's going to be times you have to spend the money and you have to just deal with whatever's going on. But there more than not, there are going to be times where you can find someone to be able to swap with. And if you open your mouth and remember that it's 2024, not 2020, we can go out and do things now. You go out and make friends, talk to people, interact with people in a real way. And when you open your mouth and talk to people, you're going to make and build that community. And don't forget, you can do community online. If maybe you have anxiety, maybe you don't like talking to people, whatever it is, you can still get out there and talk to people in your community because there's so many community apps. If you're on your computer or if you're on your phone, you're on one of them because you're listening to us right now. So boom, right there. Gotcha. You can easily get on one of these methods of communication and look for an app, look for a way to get in touch with people and start just looking for ways you can save money because it's out there. Cayce, you have something to add?
I was about to say, while we're on the barter train, very first season of Round the Hay Bale, I was a newer homesteader, and Monica and Alicia and Lisa were all like, Cayce, homesteading costs money. Learn to barter, learn to reuse. I was bougie. No, I wanted everything new. I wanted it to be Instagram perfect. But let me tell you, me and Marcus are such big barterers now that I can certain farmers' veggies because either the wife or the husband, whoever, does not want to can, does not want to learn. They're scared. They don't want to do it. And I take a percentage of the cans that I can. So I'll use I won't say the person's name because I don't know if they want it out there, but she refuses to learn how to pressure can. She's scared of it, which very respectable. I understand that. I'm a rebel. I love it. So at the end of potato season, she has not sold all the potatoes. She wants to can them. So she'll be like, hey, Cayce, I have 200 pounds of potatoes. I need you to can them. What would you charge me? And by charging, I get 50 pounds of potatoes that I don't have to grow. I already have way too many jars. So I've just beat inflation there because one, I'm saving time because I'm terrible at growing potatoes, y'all. I can't grow potatoes to save my life, but I do know how to can them. So bartering that way is so smart and a way to save money. Also, I'm new at processing meat birds. And this is our first year. I'm having people coming over and bartering with them instead of paying them to show me how to do it. They get a free turkey to take home for Thanksgiving. They don't have to raise the turkeys on their homestead. I'm learning, lessons that I need to do, as Sandy was saying, so that we don't have to pay somebody else to do it. And you're building the community also, which I think is important. So now, hello, I'm Cayce. I'm a big, huge barterer. Whoop, whoop.
That's awesome. I did our first chickens. I had bartered with Black's Tropical Homestead, actually. I had tickets to an event that I wasn't going to be able to go to, but it was a pretty pricey event. And so I exchanged those tickets for some chickens. And so that was great. So I drove those chickens up from Savannah, Georgia, all the way up to North Carolina in the back of my car. It was wonderful. But you guys have had such amazing ideas and wonderful. And what we're doing normally, as in a mindset of homesteading or just existing, honestly, is trying to make the most out of what you have, trying to reuse, repurpose, potentially find value in pretty much everything, even chicken scraps. So, and so, Sandy.
I just think that every single day you can look at your life and say, how can I beat inflation? I know it's silliness, when you think of that concept, but really it becomes part of your life and you look at things differently. And I don't like to throw anything away unless it is just, I have used it, I have recycled it, I have done everything I can think of. And then sometimes I'll just put it on Facebook and say, does anybody want this? Because maybe I can't think of something, but somebody can. What about you, Monica?
Well, I think in the grand scheme of things, over the years, Eric has always said, remember, Monica, your time is valuable, because that's what I would always neglect the fact that my time was important and it was valuable. And I would always just over like, oh, okay, it's fine. I'm fine. I'll help this person. I'll do this. I'll do this. And he was like, Monica, your time is valuable. Always remember that. And so I think that over the years, I've had to realize that my time is valuable and my skills are valuable. And if you start looking at the things that you have, not in a way where you're like, oh, I'm super awesome. No, I'm thinking I'm looking more along the lines of the skills that you have. Like Cayce has a skill. He truly can, and he's a good canner, and he's got this skill that a lot of people don't maybe have or don't even care to want. Take advantage of your skill set. Find value in the things you have. Look at yourself and think, okay, you know what? I need to save some money. I want to, be able to save money in certain areas. What skills do I have that I can offer others? How can I do this? Because you can save money. You can, if you just look at what you have and find value in yourself. I think that's a problem that we have today in society. We just don't find value in ourselves. And I think if we start realizing that we have value and what we have to offer people, then maybe bartering and trading and communicating will be a little bit easier than what we ever thought of before. And just, give yourself value and your skills value, because I think that's something that we just don't do enough of.
Yeah. Well, there was a time where I was doing a series on Be Ready, as far as making cook stoves and candles and all those types of things. But the main purpose was to be able to go and find out things that you have already around your home. A storm comes and your current goes off. You can get into the store. You can repurpose and reuse your Crisco oil or your, lard or your shoestrings for a candle wick, or old spent oil and a candle wick to be able to have a wonderful kind of light or heat or any of those sorts of things. So we do have to spend money sometimes in order to be able to have our things, but as we had spoken before, to stop just a second before you push that button and realize that maybe there's another way. Maybe I can use a little bit of my effort to be able to find a better price and a better way of doing things. So we appreciate you all for being here today. We hope that we gave you some good ideas as far as beating inflation on the homestead. And please be sure and tune in on Mondays for our Round the Hay Bale podcast. And we appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. Bye-bye now.
Are you enjoying the Hay Bale topics? To learn more, click on the LinkTree link to get all our product recommendations along with discount codes and more.